The class beauty gave me a carton of breakfast milk, which I immediately handed to a homeless person outside the school, because I had been reborn. In my previous life, she had bound herself to a system that traded my looks for those breakfast milk cartons. She grew more and more beautiful, signed by a top talent agency even before graduation, and entered the entertainment industry as the most stunning campus belle. Meanwhile, I went from the school's recognized beauty to its most notorious plain Jane, and was eventually pushed into a river and drowned by someone she hired. Since I've been reborn, if she wants to change her looks, I'll make sure she gets a thorough makeover. Alara, here's today's breakfast milk, strawberry flavored. Drink it while it's still warm. During the break, Bella, the class beauty, placed a bag of milk in front of me with a concerned look. Before I could even speak, sharp, mocking voices erupted all around me. Bella is such a sweetheart, checking on Alara every day. How lucky she is to have a friend like you. Alara has no shame. She keeps eating despite being so overweight. She's dragging down the whole class's appearance. Exactly. It's embarrassing for all of us girls. If I were her, I would have started dieting ages ago. A smug glint flashed in Bella's eyes as she listened, pushing the milk carton into my hands. What are you standing there for? I went through a lot of trouble to get this. Drink it now. In the past, I would have been incredibly grateful and considered her my most caring best friend, but after dying once, I now know that this so-called best friend has been using the system to steal my looks all along. She went from an ordinary, plain-looking girl when she first started school to the now highly sought-after class beauty. Meanwhile, my weight kept piling on. My eyes seemed to shrink, and my pores grew coarser with dark hairs sprouting all over. I fell into a spiral of endless self-torment under these circumstances, while my classmates, egged on by her behind my back, all turned against me and left me isolated. I looked up with a cold smirk and said, Bella, haven't you heard what everyone's saying? They're all telling me to lose weight. I can't bear the humiliation. I won't be having this milk. But I wouldn't want your kind gesture to go to waste. So, anyone who wants it, come and take it. As soon as these words were spoken, a crowd of Bella's admirers in the class gathered around. There were also some classmates who were obsessed with snacks and weighed about the same as me. Bella's face changed color, and she shrieked, No way. I bought this for Alara, but even if Alara won't drink it, we shouldn't let it go to waste. A dark-skinned, chubby boy squeezed his way through the crowd. Just give it to me. I'm starving since I didn't eat enough this morning. Bella felt a lump in her throat, her face flushed with frustration as she stared at that face, her entire body resisting. Seeing her like this, a bold idea suddenly crossed my mind. Perhaps if someone else drank this bag of milk, the exchange system would still work just as well. Alara, you don't have to drink it, but why must you trample on my feelings like this? Bella suddenly exclaimed, her eyes welling up with tears that began to fall almost instantly as she fought back a wave of hurt. I only did this because I genuinely care about you, but you turned around and gave away my gift to someone else. How heartless. What's the difference between what you did and the snake in the farmer and the snake? It must be said, a beautiful woman's tears truly stir compassion. The boys who were clamoring moments ago immediately fell silent and sobered up. Everyone looked at each other in panic, then turned their anger toward me in unison. Alara, are you out of your damn mind? Apologize to Bella right now. No wonder you have no friends, you fat cow. Bella's been nothing but kind to you, and this is how you repay her. You're drinking this milk today, or I swear I'll make you. Just then, a line of uniformed student council members suddenly appeared in the hallway. The boy leading them had dark short hair, brown eyes, and brows, with skin as pale and cool as early winter snow. I recognized him instantly. It was Oren, the campus heartthrob who had topped the popularity charts alongside me during orientation. When we first met, he stared at me so intently that he seemed mesmerized, only snapping out of it when his friend nudged him. After the event, he waited for me for ages hoping to get my contact info, but Bella deliberately whisked me away. Under everyone's gaze, he walked into our classroom with the rest of his team. There's an upcoming event, a campus beauty pageant co-organized by the school and corporate partners. Anyone interested can come get a registration form. Oren's voice was crisp and captivating. Every time he spoke, the girls in the audience couldn't help but cover their mouths in delight. Public voting will commence in approximately 2 weeks, and the winner will have the opportunity to sign with a renowned talent agency. Students interested in entering the entertainment industry may want to consider this. I'll take one. Bella stepped forward. She flashed her most charming smile and confidently walked up to Oren, leaning in deliberately. Her fragrant hair gently brushed against the boy's exposed arm. Oren froze for a moment, instinctively taking 2 steps back. Bella looked up with her big, watery eyes. Oren, could you tell me the rules of the competition? I'm not really sure how it works. Could you teach me? The boy blushed briefly under her gaze, pursed his lips, and nodded. After Oren and his group left, the classmates finally snapped out of it and launched into a lively discussion. I heard Oren's never been in a relationship. Whoever wins him over would be his first love. Oh my god, I'm so excited. They say his family is super rich too. He gets chauffeured to and from school in a Rolls Royce, too. Such an innocent young guy. I daydream about dating him and getting married right after graduation. Bella raised an eyebrow dismissively as she listened. I saw it just now. She chased after Oren and got his contact information. She picked up a mirror and studied her face carefully, then let her gaze drift down her body. My nose isn't high enough, and my chest isn't full enough. I need to make Oren take the initiative, she murmured to herself, then suddenly looked up at me. Just as the class bell rang, Bella only had time to yell, "Don't forget to drink your milk." Then she hurried back to her seat. Of course, I replied. At that moment, I was watching a figure rummaging through a trash can outside the window. Her hair was disheveled, her mouth was twisted, her eyes were askew, and her face was covered with scars. Because of her disfigured appearance, she endured years of domestic abuse from her husband, and everyone pitied her. So they tacitly allowed her to come to the school and sift through the useless garbage. I imagine she must be both hungry and thirsty right now. She must also long for a pleasant face, I'm sure. After school, I found the woman and handed her that bag of strawberry milk and a loaf of bread. She stared at them in a daze for a long while, and upon seeing the school badge on my chest, she cast all caution aside. He immediately began wolfing down the food. Just as I turned to leave, a hoarse voice called out to me, "Young student." I turned around and found a handful of crumpled change pressed into my hand. "Here, thank you so much. I'm so sorry, this is all I have." She fumbled through her pockets and gave me a wide grin. Something tugged at my heartstrings. It had been so long since anyone had shown me such genuine gratitude. Without a word, I pulled out 200 yuan and forced it into her hand, then I dashed away without looking back. I found myself wandering to the pavilion in the school's back garden when suddenly my face began to itch. I took out a mirror and was stunned to discover that several large moles on my face had vanished into thin air. The jawline also seemed much slimmer, faintly revealing its former shape. To avoid tipping my hand, I suppressed my exhilaration and put on a face mask. In the afternoon, I arrived early at the classroom and began studying. My greatest regret in my past life was missing the college entrance exam and not fulfilling my university dream. Suddenly, a scream echoed through the hallway. "Damn, Bella, I just saw you walking with Oren, that fast. You just met this morning. I've never seen any girl around him before." Someone couldn't help but remark, "But it makes sense, the class beauty with the school heartthrob. A good-looking couple is always a sight for sore eyes." I can't help but marvel, Oren really does have a thing for my type of looks, whether it was me before the face swap or Bella now. The truth is he's only ever been drawn to appearances. Who cares about being the class beauty? This time, I'm aiming for the title of Campus Belle. Bella didn't hide her ambition. When the time comes, I'll have Oren completely wrapped around my finger. No, he'll be the one confessing to me. She deliberately came up to me, her tone intensifying. "Youth is wasted without a passionate romance. What's the use of being a bookworm who can solve a few problems? In this society, good looks are everything." I listened without a flicker of change in my expression, only focusing more intently on writing out the problems. Midsummer holds not just the secret, unspoken affections of young men and women, but also us, striving with all our might for our dreams, unwavering in our resolve. Even someone as small and ordinary as me carries the grandest and most vast of dreams. From that day on, Bella focused all her efforts on chasing Oren and preparing for the campus beauty pageant. She became even more proactive in trying to use the system to trade away what little remained of my physical advantages, using the excuse that I needed brain-boosting nutrition for studying. She gave me 2 packets of breakfast milk every morning. I accepted it all without question and went to deliver it to that woman at noon. The changes were visibly dramatic. My figure quickly slimmed down, and my facial features began to improve, starting with my eyes and brows. 3. When classmates asked in surprise, I just looked down and said I'd been watching my diet lately and jogging on the track every evening. That morning after school, I went to the bookstore off campus to buy the latest practice workbook on the market, Alara. I just saw such a gorgeous figure from behind, thought it was some stunning stranger, but it's actually you. Someone shoved me hard from behind, and I nearly lost my balance and fell. I turned around and saw it was Bella. She was standing with Oren, who was gazing at her tenderly, but when he turned to me, his expression shifted to clear disgust. "What a coincidence. Alara, fancy meeting you here. Why are you wearing a mask? Take it off right now." Bella immediately reached up to pull off my mask, but I quickly dodged and stepped back 2 paces. She didn't succeed, and her expression froze for a moment. But then, ignoring the crowd around us, she deliberately raised her voice and said, "Alara, have you been dieting lately? You must have lost like 50 or 60 pounds. How did you do it? You've got to share your secrets with us." I've probably been eating a bit too well with Oren lately. He's been feeding me so much that I've put on quite a few pounds. It's really starting to worry me. She's absolutely right. I've definitely noticed her waist has gotten thicker. It's just that Oren might still be looking through rose-colored glasses and can't see it. "Yeah, you've gained weight. Then eat less." I couldn't be bothered with her, so I moved to another spot to look for the workbook I needed. Oren, who had been silent all along, suddenly spoke up, but his voice was grating. Alara, you've always had it out for Bella in private, and now you're doing this in front of everyone. Do you even know the meaning of the word manners? Apologize to Bella right now. As the student council president, Oren has always been known for his good temper. This is the first time I've seen him openly express such strong dislike for someone. There were already quite a few students eavesdropping nearby, and upon hearing this, they stopped in their tracks. I froze, struggling to speak. Targeting her? When have I ever targeted her? What do I have to apologize for? It's all a misunderstanding. Just a misunderstanding, Bella immediately said in a weak voice. Alara and I are good friends. She has no reason to be jealous of me, so why would she target me? I'm sure some of the past incidents were just misunderstandings. She shrank back and hid in Oren's arms, and the boy naturally pulled her close. Alara, aren't you just jealous that Bella's becoming more beautiful and stole your title as the class beauty, so you resort to hurtful words against her, you cold shoulder her when she tries to be friendly, and you even turn others against her? How can you be so malicious? Oren looked at me, his eyes filled with intense disgust. Let's go, Bella. There's no need to stoop to her level. You're just too kind-hearted for your own good. The face is the mirror of the mind. And this saying really holds true. As they held hands and were about to leave, I finally snapped out of it and stepped in their way. How ridiculous. The face reflects the soul, doesn't it? Oren, I hope you'll always remember those 4 words. I've never been jealous of anyone, because I have full confidence in myself. I am simply the best. Mocking laughter erupted around me, and in my emotional turmoil, my mask slipped down slightly, just enough to reveal my completely healed eyes. Our eyes met, and for a moment, Oren seemed utterly spellbound, for he parted his lips as if to speak, but said nothing, then left with Bella, in the drowsy afternoon classroom. Bella walked in carrying multiple bags of goodies. Wake up, everyone. I brought pastries to share. Each box costs over $2,000. Raise your hand if you want some. The class snapped awake instantly, pounding their desks and cheering excitedly. One sharp-eyed girl noticed Bella was carrying a Louis Vuitton bag. This bag's only like 30-something thousand. No big deal, Bella said with a sweet smile. We've been dining at 5-star restaurants lately. Just the meals we've had this past month cost more than this bag. Oh, and by the way, Oren mentioned he's taking me to get an Hermes soon. Ooh la la, Oren, calling him so affectionately. Sounds like things are getting serious. I'm so jealous. You're dating a total catch who's handsome, rich, and totally adores you. You're set for life. When are you two making it official? The classmates went wild, their gossipy curiosity completely fired up. Bella shot the speaker a mock-scolding look, smiling without saying a word. She made a point of handing out pastries to everyone, but deliberately skipped me when it was my turn. I know she was deliberately trying to embarrass me, but I couldn't care less. Last week's monthly exam results are about to be released. Right now, I'm more focused on what ranking I'll achieve after all this effort. Are these pastries really that important? I can buy my own in the future. Finally, during evening study hall, the class monitor came in with a long face. The grades are out. The student council will post them outside the door in a moment. The exam was way too hard. I slipped so far back in the rankings. I don't deserve to be class monitor anymore. She had always been the undisputed top student, but now she buried her head in her arms at her desk, sobbing uncontrollably. The whole class felt their hearts sink. Someone muttered bitterly, "It's fine. If even you did poorly, we're totally screwed. Our class is doomed to be the bottom of the barrel. Might as well all fail together. We're gonna be dead last in the grade again. The homeroom teacher is gonna lose it." But the class monitor looked up, voice trembling with tears. "No, there's a dark horse this time." Sniff. I can't say more. A few minutes later, a familiar figure in uniform appeared outside the window. Oren, who stood out in the crowd, posted a chart on the wall. He stared at it, completely lost in thought for a long time. After they left, everyone rushed up to check their rankings, unable to hold back any longer. To everyone's surprise, my name was right at the top of the list, and to my surprise, I actually ranked first in the entire grade. Oren came in second, even though he had been the top-ranked student for multiple terms in a row. From that day on, Oren suddenly started treating me differently. He seemed to pay extra attention to my updates. I kept seeing his profile visits for days. Even though we weren't even friends, I brushed past him in the hallway and could clearly sense the person behind me halting their steps. There was even a time we met at the bike shed. I just pedaled away quickly on my bicycle, afraid he might chase after me to talk. Perhaps everyone is focusing on their studies now, so the rumors about him and Bella have gradually died down. That noon, I felt inexplicably tired. After handing the milk to the woman, I went back to the dorm and fell asleep. When the alarm went off, I groggily opened my eyes. I casually picked up the mirror. To my excitement, I discovered my appearance had completely returned to normal. My skin was like porcelain, my eyes clear and bright, even more radiant than before. My heart was pounding wildly as I fumbled with trembling fingers to open my phone and fill out the Campus Queen competition application, just in time. This was the final day to submit entries. Bella, on the very night you're most looking forward to. I'm going to shatter every last one of your schemes. Now you'll get a taste of what it feels like to fall straight into hell. That afternoon when I arrived at school, I could tell something was off from the way my classmates were looking at me the moment I stepped into the classroom. As soon as I took my seat, I heard two unpleasant voices right behind me. That ugly girl has lost so much weight lately. I thought she was finally turning over a new leaf. But it turns out she's still just as nasty on the inside. Pull the desk back a bit. I don't want to sit next to her. I'm afraid I might actually throw up. I was completely baffled when a phone was suddenly thrown in front of me. Alara, how dare you still show your face at school? It turned out that a video had been posted on the campus forum at noon and was already spreading like wildfire throughout the school. It was exactly that conversation from the other day when Oren stood up for Bella and me. Below the video was an unflattering photo of me with a contorted expression, captioned, "Exposed. The school's notorious ugly girl has been consumed by jealousy toward her friend, not only repeatedly hurling insults but also orchestrating multiple accidents to disfigure her." Upon learning her friend was about to date the school heartthrob, her envy boiled over. She publicly viciously berated her friend, provoking the heartthrob to angrily defend her. The post instantly went viral, sparking hundreds of comments, all viciously attacking me. I don't know her, but I know Oren well. He's the student council president with impeccable character. It takes a lot to make him that furious. Is she jealous of her friend because she has a crush on Oren? Being friends with someone like that is terrifying. My heart broke when I found out Oren likes someone else. But I hate seeing this kind of petty jealousy between girls even more. This photo makes me sick. Women who tear each other down are the worst. They're an embarrassment to all of us. She should just drop out already. Isn't that Alara from our class? Seriously, does she even own a mirror? How disgusting. I scrolled through all this with a blank expression, then stood up immediately to call the police. This is pure slander. I will never admit to something I didn't do. Let the law clear my name. 5. The instigator, Bella, was clearly panicking. For some reason, she was also wearing a mask this afternoon. Now, desperate to call out to me, she could only make muffled sounds. The uproar finally subsided after the dean intervened to stop me from calling the police. After class, I noticed the post had been quietly taken down, but nearly the entire school had already heard about the incident. Even those who didn't know me personally now associated the name Alara with a malicious and unattractive girl. After class, Oren actually showed up in our classroom. His features were still delicate and handsome, but he looked utterly heartbroken. Bella, I couldn't reach you all day today. When my calls wouldn't go through, I realized you'd blocked me at some point. I thought you were breaking up with me, but then I saw what happened to you on the confession wall. I don't want you to hide away and face this alone. Let me be there with you. I'll keep you safe. This heartfelt confession moved the entire class, yet Bella frantically tightened her mask and tried to escape, saying, "You're the one who gave me the cold shoulder earlier. Let's talk about this online later. I'm not feeling well and need to use the restroom." But everyone remained convinced she was being coerced by me and afraid to expose my actions publicly. Don't worry, Bella. With all of us here today, just speak your mind freely. We've got your back. Alara, apologize to Bella right now. In the chaos, someone shoved me hard from behind. My whole body lurched forward uncontrollably, and I ended up yanking off Bella's mask. The entire class gasped when they saw what was beneath the mask. Underneath was a face covered in freckles and acne. Even her features seemed far more ordinary, with no trace of the beauty that once earned her the title of Class Belle. Oren's gaze froze, his earlier tenderness instantly replaced by an instinctive step backward. Oren, it's just an allergic reaction from something I ate earlier. It'll clear up in a couple of days. Bella's face flushed with panic as she instinctively shed two delicate tears, hoping to evoke sympathy. But now, without her beauty, her crying only made people feel disgusted when they saw her. One classmate naively remarked, "So the confession wall was right. Did Alara really ruin Bella's face? Is Alara just jealous of others' good fortune? Does she want everyone around her to be as unattractive as she is?" At this point, Bella had no choice but to grit her teeth and throw all the blame on me. Yes, it's all because of Alara. Right after interacting with her, I started breaking out in rashes, and it's been getting worse. "Alara, what on earth did you do to me?" she screamed and ripped the mask right off my face. Bella had intended to use my ugliness to make herself look better. But when my mask fell to the ground, the triumph in her eyes instantly turned into uncontrollable terror. How is this even possible? Because now I have a face that could rival the school's most beautiful girl. Having lived two lives, I'm absolutely confident that my looks would stand out even in the entertainment industry. The whole class first took a deep breath, then erupted into shocked and loud discussions. Now it's my turn to pay Bella back in full for everything she's done to me. I bit my lip, my voice trembling on the verge of tears as I spoke. "Bella, this is how I used to look. I gained weight later because of the hormone medication I took for my illness. Now that I've regained my appearance, aren't you happy for me? It has to be said that in this world, good looks are everything. People used to either ignore me or look annoyed whenever I spoke, but now, everyone falls silent in an instant, practically hanging on my every word. The guys were the first to switch sides. Yes, yes. I remember clearly, Alara really did look like that back in the day. Damn that illness for putting you through all that, but thank goodness you've fully recovered now. Alara must have been terrified just now. What would you like to drink? My treat. Something hot or cold? Is Bella out of her mind? How could my goddess possibly be jealous of you? That's ridiculous. Anyone with eyes can see who's jealous of whom. Even the most unruly jock in the class rolled up his sleeves and said, "Who the hell pushed Alara just now? Step forward right now. I'm going to teach you a lesson you won't forget." Oren's gaze was completely fixed on me, his Adam's apple bobbed heavily, and he licked his lips, wanting to speak but unsure of what to say. By now, Bella had been completely forgotten by everyone, but I had no intention of letting her off the hook. "Bella, everyone on the campus forum says I'm jealous of you, but honestly, I don't have time for that. I'm just focused on getting back to being my true self." "Alara, stop pretending to be all innocent and sweet." Bella was completely provoked by me. "You were just jealous that Oren liked me. Don't think I didn't know you had a crush on him too when you first started school. You're the reason I ended up like this, and you know it. Don't you dare play innocent with me." To her surprise, an unusual glint flashed in Oren's eyes. "You're saying Alara had a crush on me when she first enrolled, is that true?" To be fair, Oren has no flaws except for being overly fixated on looks. Enough, he's handsome, comes from a good family, excels academically, and is highly capable, but Alara, am no slouch either. Beauty is a gift that fades with time. I won't settle for someone so shallow. "Of course not," I said with a smile. "Oren, Bella is deeply in love with you, wishing you two a lasting relationship. I still have a lot of problems to solve, so I won't waste any more time here." The young man's eyes dimmed. "Well, when you have some free time, I'd still like to take you out for a meal and apologize properly." As I passed by Bella, I caught a glimpse of her face trembling with anger in my peripheral vision. She stared daggers at me and asked in a voice barely above a whisper, "Why is this happening? Why did my face end up like this?" All I wanted to do was burst out laughing. The woman who scavenged for a living has finally taken my advice and gone back to divorce her husband. She's determined to fight for custody of her children and return to her hometown for a peaceful, stable life. This means Bella will never understand why she ended up like this. "Bella, please stop looking at me like that. It's creeping me out. I scare even myself when I turn on the TV. I remember you looked pretty much like this back in freshman year. Could it be that you were wearing makeup before and this is your bare face now? Oops, did I accidentally spill the tea?" A chorus of sudden realizations echoed through the room, and Bella completely lost it. "Alara, I'm going to kill you." She shoved me to the ground with all her might, and if it weren't for a quick-thinking classmate holding her back, she would have come at me again, but my leg slammed hard against the corner of the table, and blood gushed out instantly. Oren immediately scooped me up in his arms, rushing to the infirmary. This time, I insisted on reporting it to the police. To persuade me to drop the matter, the school had no choice but to expel Bella. Fortunately, it's just a superficial injury, nothing's broken. In the infirmary, Oren watched the school nurse bandage me up, and his eyes actually welled up. "6. Does it hurt?" he asked, "with a cut this long. It'd be weird if it didn't hurt." He suddenly crouched down and gently blew on it for me. "Hey. What are you doing? Don't be scared. I just thought your ankle was too beautiful to be in pain like this. Everything about you is perfect, like an exquisite sculpture. I never imagined a girl like you could exist in real life. You're like a breathtaking sight to behold." Oren blurted out everything, then stood up with downcast eyes, took 2 steps back, and bowed deeply to me. "I'm truly sorry for what I said to you back then. I apologize. I understand if you don't want to see me right now, and I'll leave, but I still hope you'll give me a chance to get to know you again." I watched him leave without saying a word. He paused for a moment at the door, but my silence had already given him the answer. After he left, I set my QQ to block all search and friend requests. In the time that followed, I went back to my usual routine, studying every spare minute I had. When people apologized for what happened in the past, I told them I forgave them. My classmates were moved by my forgiveness and hard work, and they too threw themselves into their studies with renewed focus. We shared knowledge and ideas, ran together for exercise in the evenings, and I truly felt our class had become a tight-knit community. 2 weeks later, the campus beauty pageant kicked off as scheduled. The moment I stepped onto the stage, every spotlight focused on me. The entire venue fell so silent you could hear everyone's heavy breathing. The big screen displayed the skyrocketing number of votes pouring in for me. Oren even abused his authority by rallying the student council to hold up support signs just for me. I was miles ahead. The undisputed first place. The crowd below was chanting my name. They screamed, "Goddess, I love you, and you're absolutely stunning." I took a deep breath of the night air. This was the life I was meant to live, filled with flowers and applause, free from endless darkness. The future is incredibly bright. After stepping off stage, a junior told me that a reporter was waiting to interview me in a classroom and urged me to hurry. I had intended to change my clothes first, but he was urging me so insistently that I had no choice but to hurry in the direction he indicated. still holding up my skirt, yet when I arrived, I found the classroom empty. There was no one inside. It was around 10 o'clock at night, and the lights in the hallway behind me had already gone out. In the utter silence, the sound of deliberately hushed yet distinct footsteps began to echo. A sense of foreboding washed over me. I was engulfed by the same panic and despair I felt when I drowned in my past life. My heart pounded wildly, and I immediately turned to flee. But a hand shot out from around the corner, choking me and forcing me into the classroom. That venomous glare, it was actually Bella. Her face looked even more terrifying than it had weeks ago. She stepped forward and slapped me hard across the face. You bitch. No wonder Oren suddenly distanced himself from me back then. He must have taken a liking to you. When did you discover the system's secret? How did my face end up like this? I ran my tongue over the spot where I'd been struck, staring coldly at her as I said, you brought this on yourself. The moment you turned against me, you should have seen this coming. I refused to accept this, she screamed hysterically. I was so close to being with Oren. Why did this have to happen? I was about to become the campus queen. I could have broken into the entertainment industry and reached the peak of my life. Alara, you bitch, why did you have to ruin everything all of a sudden? Are you deliberately trying to make my life miserable? You just want to take everything I have, don't you? I said calmly. I never intended to take what's yours. None of this belonged to you in the first place. You've lost your mind. At these words, Bella suddenly laughed. You're right. I have gone mad. But what does it matter now? Things have come to this. I've been pushed to the edge and lost everything completely. That river to the west claims lives every year. I've heard even students who failed their exams jump into it. She gave me a sinister look and said, Alara, how long do you think it would take for the current to wash your body away if we threw you in tonight? As she spoke, the group of boys with brightly dyed hair began crowding into the classroom, so she had already hooked up with those delinquents from outside school, all thanks to her looks, in my past life. It was this very group that knocked me out during my night run and threw me into the river to drown. In this lifetime, I finally saw their true faces. That unfamiliar underclassman was standing among them. Alara, you're finished, Bella shouted with vicious delight, her eyes blazing with fury. Since you love seducing men so much, tonight I'll make sure you get your fill. Today will be your last day. Oh, really? I smiled and raised my phone. The screen showed an ongoing call, and on the other end was the number 110. I knew something was off the moment that unfamiliar underclassman called out to me. The smell of smoke on him clearly didn't belong on campus, so I called the police right then. Did you forget? The cops are stationed right outside the school tonight. Fortunately, the police officers arrived just in time. They handcuffed Bella and her accomplices. Both in her past life and the present, she has chosen a life of crime. 7. And she will undoubtedly face the consequences for her actions. I accepted the talent agency's offer, but on one condition, that I could finish high school first. I completed the college entrance exams and got into university. I want to live a full life. As for Oren, I heard he went abroad to study. This was the preordained path laid out for him as the scion of a wealthy family. Before leaving, he waited persistently outside my dorm and asked if I had ever felt a spark for him when we first started college. I shook my head, and only then did he walk away dejected, with a tinge of bitterness. He said to me before going, that was my last attempt to give myself a chance. Had you said yes, I would have given up the opportunity to study abroad without hesitation to be with you. I smiled and shook my head, turned and walked away. Actually, I lied to him, with such a handsome and refined face. Any girl would feel a flutter in her heart, but I've always known exactly what I want. Love doesn't define me. I'm no clinging vine that needs others to survive. I am complete on my own, capable of creating my own beautiful destiny. The end. Story 2. My husband is a golden dragon, and so am I, yet we've brought forth a little azure dragon. In fury, he dragged my Aurelius to perform bloodline tests with every azure dragon in the clan. In the end, Aurelius was proven to be his trueborn son. Then my half-sister bore his younger brother a golden dragon, instantly elevating their prestige. In a fit of rage, Ragnar slew Aurelius and condemned me to the cold palace, where I suffered torment until death. When my eyes opened again, I found myself back on the very day of the dragon clan's bridal selection ceremony. Ragnar chose my younger sister without hesitation. I knew then, he too had been reborn. But, without me, how could his barren body ever father a child? The Crown Prince has lost his senses. In my dazed state, the Dragon King's furious voice pierced my mind. Countless fragments flashed before me as I jolted awake, my body drenched in cold sweat. Staring at the familiar surroundings, I stood frozen in complete disbelief. Am I still alive? Don't you see, Eldora is the true Golden Dragon. She alone is worthy of you. Golden Dragon, that's nothing but a cheap trick. A scornful voice rang out nearby, following the sound. I saw Ragnar glaring at me with pure hatred before sweeping his robe aside and kneeling. Your Majesty, I found true love with Lady Vanessa. I wish to make her my crown princess. His voice rang with conviction. I staggered slightly as clarity dawned upon me. Not only had I been reborn, Ragnar had too. Among dragonkin, bloodline purity reigned supreme. As the sole legitimate daughter of our lineage and a rare golden dragon, my status was unquestioned, from birth. My destiny was sealed to enter the Dragon Palace as Crown Princess. My family invested heavily in my upbringing, and upon coming of age, I naturally wed Ragnar as ordained. Yet after 2 barren years, physicians confirmed my fertility. The fault clearly lay with him. Unable to bear telling Ragnar the truth, I returned home and begged my mother to teach me the Dragon Clan's secret art, using my own vital essence to nurture an embryo, all to fulfill his dream of fatherhood. After all that effort, only a blue dragon was born, driving Ragnar into utter madness. Dragonkind is divided into 6 tiers: gold, silver, blue, red, green, and black. Naturally, gold dragons reign supreme as the most noble, followed by the others in descending order, with black dragons at the bottom and blue dragons in the middle ranks. I've exhausted my life essence to nurture this mid-tier azure dragon. This is my absolute limit. Ragnar accused me of infidelity and summoned all azure dragons for bloodline verification with Aurelius. With my conscience clear, I feared nothing, though poor Aurelius endured the ordeal. With no other choice, I pricked his finger to let blood drip into the vessel. The blood merged. Aurelius was indeed his child. Then joyous news came from the Dragon Palace. My half-sister had borne Eldric's brother a golden dragon, instantly elevating their prestige and securing the heir's position. Ragnar narrowly missed the throne. In a fit of rage, he slew Aurelius, banished me to the cold palace, where I ultimately met a tortured and miserable end. My whole body trembled as waves of terror and sorrow crashed over me, making my legs go weak until I nearly lost my footing. Eldora, the Dragon King looked at me with visible unease. I closed my eyes, masking the turmoil within. My king, if the crown prince favors Vanessa, I shall raise no objection, yet in this lifetime. He was fated to leave no heir. Dragonkin's secrets pass only to trueborn heirs, never to bastards. Ragnar snorted coldly, his eyes brimming with contempt for me. You wouldn't dare say a word. My half-sister Vanessa's eyes shone with astonishment, never expecting such staggering fortune would fall upon her. She shot me a triumphant glance. I shook my head helplessly. Whether it's fortune or ruin, she'll find out in time. When Ragnar chose my half-sister, I had no choice but to marry Prince Eldric. In my memory, he was a kind and considerate man. In their past life, his half-sister scorned him for being just a minor prince, yet he patiently endured all her antics with unwavering devotion. After she bore him a golden dragon heir, he dissolved his entire harem, showering her alone with undivided adoration. And now, this very sister would willingly abandon such a devoted man. How blind can one be? After the consort selection, the Dragon King sent me lavish gifts out of guilt, back home. Mother was furious, cursing the crown prince's ingratitude while father remained silent. I knew exactly what he was thinking. That very day, my stepsister's mother was promoted to principal wife, granting Vanessa legitimate daughter status. She swaggered up to me, eyes practically tilted to the heavens. Oh dear, is the precious legitimate sister drowning in sorrow? Staring at the drink in my hand and the melon seed shells on the floor, I genuinely couldn't fathom where she'd detected any melancholy in me. The real show's yet to come. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her right now. On our wedding day, Vanessa and I stepped out together while Ragnar paraded miles of crimson dowry, chest after chest overflowing with gold and jewels, his face brimming with pride. Did he truly believe Vanessa would bear him a purebred golden dragon? As I stepped out, he sidled up to me with venom dripping from his voice. Eldora. A counterfeit like you could only whelp bastards. After draining my lifeblood to bear his offspring, this is how he brands them, bastards. Such humiliation, Aurelius and I endured far worse in past lives. Now it barely registers. Met with my silence, he turned bored and lavished Vanessa beside him with grandiose promises. Vanessa, you are my destined crown princess. I shall make you the most revered woman among dragonkind. Vanessa blushed and nodded shyly, saying she cared not for such things, only to remain by Ragnar's side. Before leaving, Ragnar shot me a venomous glare, then halted abruptly as if noticing something, his voice rising sharply. My third brother hasn't even shown up. This betrothal is as good as broken. As the family's sole golden dragon and our last hope, to be belittled by the crown prince is bad enough. If the third prince breaks our engagement too, how will our house maintain its dignity? The elder's faces darkened with fury. Vanessa shot me a contemptuous glance before simpering. Your Highness mustn't jest. My dear sister is our family's only golden dragon. She knew full well Ragnar disdained my golden dragon heritage. Bringing it up now was just her way of testing his attitude toward me, just as she had hoped. Ragnar's face darkened with undisguised contempt. What damned golden dragon? In my eyes, she's not even fit to be called a loach. The crowd erupted in shock, for noble families outside the Dragon Palace. Producing a golden dragon was an exceptionally rare and extraordinary phenomenon, and now the crown prince dares equate it with some lowly mudfish. The crowd seethed with silent rage. Who dares cross the crown prince? With the third prince still absent, is he truly backing out of the betrothal? Brother, your words go too far. A frosty voice shattered the silence as Eldrick approached, radiating icy disdain. Ragnar scoffed lightly. Little brother took so long. I thought you'd backed out of the wedding. Never. Marrying Eldora is the greatest honor of my life. Eldrick approached me, directing servants to carry chests inside with a presence that rivaled Ragnar's. Taking my hand gently, he murmured, "Forgive my tardiness, my princess." The bridal gifts took longer to prepare. Warmth blossomed in my chest as I shook my head slightly. Of course there was nothing to forgive. Seeing my grand wedding procession, Ragnar's eyes burned with resentment as he spat through gritted teeth. How noble of my third brother. By protocol, Crown Prince Ragnar and Vanessa entered the palace first, followed by me and the third prince. He held my hand throughout the journey, his warm touch radiating comforting reassurance. While I stole occasional glances at him, his striking features and erect posture commanded attention. With ink-dark brows exuding cool detachment and fathomless eyes that held regal authority, the moment our eyes met, I quickly averted my gaze, my ears burning as his grip on my hand tightened imperceptibly. Upon entering the Dragon Palace, we each retreated to our respective chambers. Ragnar, who'd been flirting with Vanessa the entire way, suddenly halted in his tracks, turning sideways to face Eldrick. He sneered. "Little brother, as Crown Prince, I advise you to keep better watch over your filthy consort, lest she taint our Dragon Palace's royal bloodline. Your Highness, how could you speak of my sister like that? She would never stoop to such vile deeds." Vanessa feigned anger, though her eyes held no trace of reproach. Their perfectly synchronized banter made them look every bit the married couple. Eldrick gripped my hand tightly and said coldly, "Brother, you do well to keep your little green dragon in check. Vanessa is the azure dragon. How peculiar. Eldrick is a silver dragon, and she's an azure dragon. How could they have possibly sired a golden dragon in their past lives?" At the mention of her lineage, Vanessa's face darkened, glaring at me with venom, a truth she loathed to confront. The corners of my lips curled as I let out a soft chuckle. May the crown prince and my dear sister have their wishes fulfilled, and soon be blessed with a golden dragon, with my royal bloodline. "Of course I can sire a golden dragon," Ragnar declared arrogantly, pulling Vanessa into his embrace. "A sterile cripple, where does this confidence even come from?" I took Eldrick's hand and walked away with dignity, refusing to engage in pointless arguments. The real show is yet to come. Upon reaching the bedchamber, Eldrick wore a grim expression, his thin lips pressed into a tight line, eyes blazing with intensity. His voice resolute. "I will protect you from now on," I chuckled softly. "I don't doubt you, but having offended the crown prince today, neither of us will know peace hereafter, unless," meeting his bewildered gaze, a mischievous glint flashed in my eyes as I leaned in for a kiss, "unless the golden dragon is born soon, may Ragnar perish without a grave." A month passed with no word from them, yet I was diagnosed with pregnancy. The Dragon King rejoiced, bestowed lavish rewards, and decreed that whoever bore the golden dragon would inherit his throne. The plot remains unchanged from my past life, but this time, it's me who's destined to become the dragon mother. Upon hearing of my pregnancy, Ragnar immediately stormed over in a rage. "What are you so smug about, Eldora? You've merely whelped a lowly little wormling, nothing worth boasting over. How dare he mention the azure dragonling?" My fists clenched tight beneath the billowing sleeves. In my past life, had it not been to fulfill his dream of fatherhood, I'd never have used the Dragonkin's forbidden art, nourishing a dragon fetus with my own essence, yet it ended with me meeting a tragic demise. I closed my eyes, burying the hatred deep within my heart. I will avenge my child's murder. This blood debt shall be repaid. Eldrick shielded me behind him, declaring, no matter his rank, he's my child. I'll protect both mother and son with my life. A warmth blossomed in my chest. Like gentle sunlight spilling into my soul, Ragnar stormed off in a rage, his face turning livid with anger. After another month with no response, the Dragon King could wait no longer and summoned the royal physician to the Crown Prince's chambers. I grabbed Eldrick and rushed after them, eager to witness Ragnar's reaction when he learned of his infertility. Ragnar's expression darkened instantly upon hearing the Dragon King was bringing the royal physician. "Do I look like some invalid to you?" The dragon physician trembled in fear, casting a glance at the Dragon King. The Dragon King frowned and waved his hand dismissively. "Examine the Crown Princess first." They were all skirting the real issue. If Vanessa were diagnosed with an illness, the Dragon Palace could save face. But if Ragnar turned out to be the problem, who knows how they'd handle that? Ragnar's piercing gaze met mine, dark as a gathering tempest. "Eldora, come to mock the Crown Prince. What? You think betting my third brother could spawn a golden dragon? Never forget he's but a silver dragon." You may be golden-blooded, but I know exactly what trash you are. A golden heir will never spring from your union. Such absolute conviction. Eldrick shielded me with a subtle arch of his brow. Brother, perhaps verify your claims before spouting nonsense. Reluctantly yet bound by the Dragon King and Crown Prince's authority, Vanessa had no choice but to extend her hand. Ragnar snorted coldly with a warning. Dragon physician, you'd better attend to this Crown Prince properly. He wore an expression of absolute confidence. With memories from his past life, he naturally harbored no concern about Vanessa's well-being. The dragon physician dropped to his knees in fear, carefully taking Vanessa's pulse. Vanessa clutched her handkerchief tightly, a sheen of sweat forming on her forehead as she feared something might be wrong. Your Majesties, the Dragon King and Crown Prince, the Crown Princess is in good health. She merely suffers from slight hormonal imbalance. Likely due to emotional fluctuations. At the physician's words, Vanessa visibly relaxed. Ragnar cast me a sidelong glance and declared solemnly, Father, since Vanessa is unharmed, allow us time to restore our vitality. We shall surely conceive a golden dragon of pure bloodline to bring glory to our dragon palace. Indeed, Father, Vanessa shall spare no effort. She curtsied gracefully, her eyes gleaming with determination. Relieved by the news, the Dragon King roared with laughter. Ha! Excellent, we shall await your joyous tidings. I let out a long, pensive sigh, checking the healthy while neglecting the sick. I'd love to see where they got this so-called pure golden dragon from. With the Dragon King gone, Eldrick and I found it dull and were about to leave when Ragnar stopped us. He sneered. Did you really think summoning a dragon physician would embarrass me? The Crown Prince, Eldora, you're as despicable as ever. I smiled faintly. The Crown Prince of the Dragon Palace. Yet impotent, isn't that laughable, breeding a bastard and acting all high and mighty, Ragnar sneered. A frosty glint flashed in Eldrick's eyes. Mind your tongue, brother, Eldora carries royal dragon blood too. Ragnar flung his sleeve in fury, his expression icy. This Crown Prince shall see what abomination you'll bring into this world. My child needs no concern from your highness, Eldrick retorted coldly before escorting me back to the palace. With Aurelius coming, Eldrick became even more attentive, treating me as if I were made of glass. Natural conception differs vastly from arcane methods. In my past life, Aurelius drained most of my vital essence, leaving me increasingly frail until I couldn't even leave my bed, though I now suffer morning sickness. My body grows more radiant with vitality. Several months passed without news from the Crown Prince, until the Dragon King finally ordered the royal physician to examine him. Ragnar's face remained stormy throughout. Physician, he commanded icily, you'd best conduct this examination thoroughly. No matter what you say, he refuses to believe it's his fault. In our past life, he never knew I used forbidden arts to birth the Azure Dragon, yet now he speaks with such conviction. The royal physician turned deathly pale, his trembling hand hovering frozen above the Crown Prince's pulse. The truth will finally come to light. Just as I was filled with hope, Vanessa beside me suddenly fainted from nervousness. The royal physician rushed to examine her, then beamed with joy. Congratulations, your highness, the Crown Princess is with child. I frowned in disbelief. How could this be? Could Vanessa have also used the Dragon Clan's secret arts? 3. The dragon physician heaved a sigh of relief, wiping cold sweat from his brow, yet his expression remained puzzled. When our eyes met, he quickly averted his gaze. Guilty conscience. Vanessa woke to the news of her pregnancy, placing a hand on her belly. A flicker of panic flashed in her eyes before giving way to a triumphant smile. Something's not right here. Before I could gather my thoughts, I heard the Crown Prince's ecstatic voice. Ha, heaven favors me. This prince shall surely breed a golden dragon. The Dragon King was equally delighted, bestowing gifts of the finest quality. Vanessa casually picked up a few trinkets to toy with, eyeing me sideways. Sister-in-law must have never seen such treasures before. Ragnar pulled her close, glaring at me with venom. How could she have seen such treasures? Only my Crown Princess is worthy of these luxuries. Just common trinkets. I couldn't care less, right now. We need to figure out how Vanessa got pregnant, I wrote home. And though Mother was puzzled about how I knew the Dragon Clan's secret arts, she didn't press further. She simply reminded me that the clan's traditions must be upheld. Now she alone in our family knows these mysteries. That's strange. Could it be? A terrifying thought dawned on me. If Vanessa truly corrupted the Dragon Palace bloodline, she'd face execution. She actually took such a huge risk. In our past life, Ragnar summoned all the Azure Dragons and forced Aurelius to take a blood test, accusing me of being promiscuous and shameless. Now, the tables have turned. He's the one wearing the cuckold's horns, feeling the dragon soul's aura within my slightly rounded belly. The corners of my lips curled upward. Aurelius, this time I'll protect you properly. Eldrick entered with a displeased expression. What's wrong? I sat beside him. Father insists I make an overseas trip. You mustn't go out these days, lest they lose their senses. I knew whom he meant, understood his concern for me. And in my current condition, I certainly wouldn't court trouble. Only after repeated warnings from Eldrick did he reluctantly leave with some peace of mind. To avoid running into Ragnar and his crew, I limited my post-meal strolls to the palace grounds, yet he seemed to be lying in wait for me. The moment he spotted me, he came over to show off. It was always the same bragging. His child being a golden dragon while mine was merely a small blue one. I grew so tired of hearing it. I chose to stay indoors for some peace and quiet, but I underestimated his obsession. To my surprise, Ragnar and Vanessa showed up at my chambers, both beaming with pride, Vanessa especially, dripping in jewels, as if she'd strapped every rare treasure the Dragon King bestowed upon her to her body. How utterly vulgar. Vanessa covered her mouth with a titter. Sister-in-law, today we consulted the dragon physician. He said the spiritual energy of Aurelius in my womb is abundant, just like when he examined the Dragon Queen. The Dragon Queen naturally gave birth to a golden dragon. Is she implying she's certain her child will be a golden dragon? I glanced at the radiant Vanessa. How audacious of her. But who on earth did she find to breed a golden dragon? Eldora, do you recall the decree father issued? Ragnar gloated beside me, yet his eyes burned with obsession. In our past life, he was the crown prince, until my birth of a lesser dragon cost him the throne. Now, with Vanessa capable of bearing a golden heir, he's dead set on claiming his destiny. Little does he know the problem lies with himself. Through all his lives, he was never destined to wear the crown. I arched an eyebrow slightly. Of course I remember. Well then, I wish you success. Rage flickered in Ragnar's eyes. He'd come today precisely to provoke and humiliate me. And my lack of reaction only fueled his displeasure. Eldora, when I ascend the throne, I swear to make you suffer 1,000 deaths. Do you truly not beg for my mercy? His tone grew more intense. I shook my head slightly. The tables could still turn. His face darkened as he lunged forward, seizing my throat and lifting me off the ground. How dare you remain so composed? Do you truly believe this crown prince lacks the nerve to kill you? Ragnar's eyes burned with murderous intent. Eldora, I've dreamed of killing you. As his grip tightened, my vision began to blur. Just as I was about to reveal his infertility, a silver flash struck from outside, knocking Ragnar aside and sending me flying, only to be caught in a warm embrace. Eldrick looked at me with concern, his voice trembling with tension. Eldora, are you all right? I forced a faint smile and shook my head to indicate I was fine, given a second chance at life. I won't be that foolish again. Besides, Ragnar wouldn't actually kill me, at least not before his succession. That arrogant fool would surely make me witness his golden dragon's birth to prove his pure lineage. As for my previous life's little azure dragon, that was entirely my own doing. The sheer audacity. Eldrick helped me up, his entire being radiating lethal intent as an overwhelming aura expanded outward. Ragnar, you keep pushing my limits. Do you really think I won't make a move? A faint golden glow began radiating from him, and my heart skipped a beat. Could Eldrick also be a golden dragon? Now wasn't the time to reveal this secret. I grabbed Eldrick's arm, my voice softening. Eldrick, you mustn't. The hostility radiating from Eldrick gradually dissipated as he swept me into his arms, his voice thick with restrained fury yet commanding authority. Get out. A commotion arose behind us before Ragnar's resentful voice finally broke the silence. Eldora, this crown prince will be watching your every move. Let's see what monster spawn you'll produce. Eldrick tightened his arm around me, nestled against his chest. The steady rhythm of his heartbeat filled me with an inexplicable sense of security as I gradually drifted off to sleep. Through the haze of sleep, I faintly heard him whisper near my ear, Eldora, I swear I'll protect your child. I slept soundly through the night, only waking when morning light streamed in. Eldrick was fiddling with some children's toys in a small wooden crib when he spotted me, immediately dropping everything to rush over. Are you feeling unwell anywhere? His flustered expression made me chuckle. It's just a pregnancy. I'm not made of glass. Yet a pang of sorrow twisted inside me. The arcane rituals of my past life birthed Aurelius, leaving me emaciated to the bone, so weak I couldn't even leave my bed. Yet Ragnar spread rumors that I couldn't handle the golden dragon's spiritual energy. Not once did they care about me. Remembering yesterday's events, I asked if he was the golden dragon. Eldrick paused, let out a bitter chuckle, and began explaining the whole story. He was indeed a golden dragon, but his mother used forbidden magic to turn him silver, unwilling to see him entangled in royal power struggles. No wonder Vanessa gave birth to a golden dragon in her past life. He was golden by nature. Eldrick informed the Dragon King of the situation. He won't leave for anything until I've safely delivered Aurelius. With his devoted care, I've put on quite some weight. For a sudden wave of excruciating pain hit me, making me grimace as I clutched my stomach. Eldrick immediately carried me back to bed, and the female dragon physician who'd been on standby rushed in. Prepare the supplies. The third imperial consort is going into labor. In an instant, the entire palace descended into chaos. This childbirth was far easier than my last life, where I nearly died from the agony. Eldrick rushed to the bedside from outside, his face filled with tender concern. You've suffered so much. The dragon physician approached with the azure egg wrapped in brocade, hesitating. Your Highness, this. He carefully took it and placed it in my arms, his face alight with joy. Eldora, this is our child, not a trace of disgust or contempt in his eyes. In our past life. Ragnar's face darkened the moment he saw the blue egg. Despite my postpartum weakness, he dragged Aurelius and me to the clan's elders for paternity testing. Everything is completely different now. Suddenly, shouts of alarm came from outside the door. Where's the royal physician? Come with me quickly. The crown princess is going into labor, the royal physician muttered in confusion. But the crown princess was due months after the third princess consort. How can she be delivering now? Though puzzled, she didn't dare delay and hurried off with her medical kit. I wondered too, could it be premature labor? Noticing me glance outside, Eldrick tucked me in. Don't worry about what's out there, just focus on recovering. After the dragon egg made contact with me, Eldrick placed it on a nearby cradle and tucked it in with a blanket. Before long, news spread beyond the palace gates that the crown princess had laid a golden egg, a genuine golden egg. Ragnar. Your grand performance is about to begin. After a month's convalescence, the Dragon Palace hosted a grand banquet where we were all required to present our dragon eggs for the Dragon King to imbue with spiritual energy, ensuring their safe hatching. The family has arrived too, and Father actually brought Vanessa's mother with him. I lowered my eyes, feeling how undeserving this was for Mother, Vanessa. Father walked right past me to stand before her, beaming with pride, to bear a golden dragon. You've brought honor to our family, so much for family bonds. I exhaled and walked beside Eldrick, who then freed a hand to hold mine, wrapping me in complete reassurance. While everyone flocked to flatter Lord and Lady Ragnar, only 2 maids attended Eldrick and me. The crown prince is remarkable, a golden egg right from the start. Absolutely, a true golden dragon begets nothing less than another golden dragon. Ragnar's smirk couldn't be more obvious. Of course my royal offspring would be exceptional. Vanessa stood nearby, her eyes brimming with smug satisfaction. Noticing our presence, Ragnar strode over with undisguised contempt. What's this? Heard you've hatched another blue egg. I always said your bloodline was tainted, only fit for producing disgraceful whelps. The golden dragon behind him shimmered with radiant light, perpetually amplifying Ragnar's arrogance. Father's expression darkened when my impure lineage was mentioned. Though he remained silent, honestly, sister-in-law, you should have covered that egg with cloth. How improper for others to see. Vanessa sneered. The crowd recoiled in disgust. Though not the lowest caste of eggs, a blue egg has no place in the Dragon Court's bloodline. It undermines our majesty. Ignoring everyone's disapproving looks, I cradled the blue egg in my arms. This is my child. What does his rank matter? As long as he's healthy, nothing else matters. Father shook his head in disappointment. I thought you'd amount to something, but, sigh, the family can't count on you anymore. Then he went right back to fawning over Vanessa. The Dragon King emerged and gave my jade egg a disdainful look. Though he couldn't voice his disapproval, his face lit up as he channeled spiritual energy into the golden egg, pouring in a substantial amount. But when it came to the jade egg, he only gave it a perfunctory trickle of energy. Eldrick frowned, about to say something when I stopped him. You can't rely on others to raise your own child. Oh, is the golden egg about to hatch? Someone in the crowd exclaimed, and everyone turned to see cracks forming on the golden egg nurtured in the spiritual energy. Consider it an honor to witness the hatching of a golden dragon with your own eyes. Ragnar hovered near the golden egg, impatient with the slow progress as he channeled another surge of spiritual energy into it. As the shell cracked open, a blinding golden light flooded the grand hall, leaving the onlookers awestruck as they held their breath, eyes locked on the golden egg, with the last fragments of shell falling away. A golden snake. How could it be a snake? The crowd gasped in disbelief. The mighty dragon prince actually sired a golden serpent, though the color matches, the very species has changed. Ragnar's smile froze instantly as he snatched up the hatchling, examining it with disbelief in his eyes. Impossible. This can't be my offspring. He flung the serpent aside and lunged forward, striking Vanessa across the face with bloodshot eyes. You whore, what have you done? I didn't. I swear I did nothing. Vanessa turned deathly pale, her eyes wide with terror. Ha ha, heaven blesses our Tingsha clan. The once-in-a-century golden serpent is finally born. Amid the crowd, a man in dark brocade robes cradled the hatchling serpent with utmost care. The 5th prince of the Tingsha clan, Serpentius. The Dragon Palace elders recognized the intruder. As the man realized he was exposed, he turned to flee, only to be magically restrained by the Dragon King. How dare such lowly serpents defile my royal palace, roared the Dragon King in fury. Serpentius cradled the hatchling against his chest, laughing wildly. O mighty Dragon King! Don't pretend to be so noble. Your own crown princess begged to bear my offspring. All eyes turned to the crown prince, though unspoken. Everyone knew he'd been cuckolded. Ragnar's face darkened with rage as he seized Vanessa by the throat. You treacherous whore. I'll have you drawn and quartered for this. Vanessa trembled in terror. Your Highness, he forced me. I've been utterly loyal to you. How could I ever betray you? But Ragnar would never let her go. Vanessa mustered all her strength to wrench free from Ragnar's grip, staggering to Serpentia's side as she roared. Why did you lie to me? Weren't you the golden dragon? Serpentia sneered. Would you have borne this prince a golden serpent if I hadn't? Now I get it. No wonder Vanessa laid a golden egg. She carries the royal bloodline of the Tingsha clan. Little did she know she'd been deceived, truly believing she could produce a golden dragon as counterfeit. Vanessa staggered backward in disbelief. How could this be? I clearly gave birth to a golden dragon. She kept shaking her head before bursting into hysterical laughter, pointing at Ragnar. Ha, you impotent fool, expecting me to bear you a golden dragon. Look at yourself. Do you even have what it takes? If I hadn't overheard the dragon physician, I'd still be blaming myself like an idiot. This is all your fault. A barren dreamer like you deserves those horns on your head. You've chosen death. Ragnar's face darkened as his blade pierced Vanessa's heart. Serpentius morphed into a serpent to flee, only for Ragnar, now a golden dragon, to crush him alive with razor-sharp claws. After reverting to human form, he stomped on the baby snake with such force that only bone fragments remained. At that moment, the egg in my arms emitted a crisp cracking sound as the fissures expanded. A blinding golden light burst forth, forcing everyone to shield their eyes. A fledgling dragon's cry echoed as a pure golden WIRM shattered its shell and soared straight into the heavens. A five-clawed golden dragon. 5. The Dragon King wore an expression of utter disbelief. A five-clawed golden dragon, the heaven-chosen dragon lord. How dare a lowly wretch like you bear a golden dragon? How dare you? Ragnar snarled with slitted eyes, his thunderous roar shaking the heavens as he lunged toward the hatchling. Aurelius, with a battle cry. I leapt into action as the roar of a dragon echoed beside me. Eldrick transformed into a golden WIRM to join me in confronting Ragnar. Ragnar coiled his draconic form, radiant golden light enveloping his body as an overwhelming aura paralyzed everyone present. Blinded by vengeance, Ragnar now fought with lethal precision, each strike beyond my ability to counter. Eldrick took the blow meant for me. Eldora, you're unworthy of birthing the golden dragon. Perish, all of you. Ragnar channeled all his power into his palm and charged straight at Aurelius. Boom. Dark clouds instantly blotted out the sky as a thunderous crash echoed, followed by a golden silhouette plummeting downward. Ragnar crashed heavily onto the ground, his body charred black. He's dead, struck down by divine retribution. Mother, a soft, velvety voice called out as Aurelius flew over and coiled around my arm. My wounds healed instantly before he darted off to tend to Eldrick's injuries. Mommy, mommy. Aurelius nuzzled affectionately against my cheek. Eldrick came over and wrapped his arms around me, playfully teasing Aurelius with his fingers. The whole moment felt surreal, like something out of a dream. Staring at Ragnar lying on the ground, I approached and whispered, "At least in this life you didn't choose me. Did you know the little azure dragon from our past life was your descendant, bred through dragonkin magic by my hand? And you slaughtered it without mercy, Ragnar. You should have died long ago." As my words faded, Ragnar's eyes snapped open, brimming with bitter resentment and regret, but none of that mattered anymore. Rising to my feet, I cradled Aurelius while leaning against Eldrick. In this life, blessed by fortune's grace, the years ahead shall bloom with splendor. Story 2. After the high temperature persisted for half a month, a rainfall finally came. Everyone joyfully celebrated the timely rain from the sky. Only I was busy changing houses and stockpiling supplies. In my previous life, this rain brought the entire city to a halt and completely paralyzed it, and I was sold at a low price by my heartless boss to a pervert in exchange for food, and I was tortured to death. In this life, I want to know how much food my boss can be exchanged for. 1. I woke up from my workstation, gasping for breath, and downed a cup of iced Americano at my hand in one gulp. There was no tearing pain in my body. I picked up my phone and checked the time. It was May 18th, 2038. I was sure that I had been reborn 2 days before the apocalypse. Just then, my boss suddenly barked at me like a dog. "Lydia, it's already 1:31 p.m. The planning map of the land in the west of the city hasn't been completed yet. How dare you rest here? I'm telling you, all of your performance bonuses for this month will be deducted." I looked at the man in front of me, who had a receding hairline, a big belly, and a grumpy expression with saliva splashing in the air. Although I really wanted to slap him, I held back. "Boss, it's not that I don't want to go. Look, it's raining heavily outside, and the land in the west of the city is far away, and there's no bus. It's not convenient for me to go. However, for the development of the company, I've decided to take a taxi there immediately. I won't ask the company to reimburse me." This can be my way of making up for the 1 minute overtime during my lunch break today. As soon as I finished speaking, his irritability disappeared instantly. I didn't act humbly to curry favor with him for a promotion and a raise, nor was I afraid of his tyranny. In my previous life, after I complained and got angry, this mean fat man, in order to save the taxi fare, finally drove his broken car with me to the destination. Later, the car broke down, and the heavy rain came. He and I were trapped on the unfinished construction site. When the apocalypse of the torrential rain arrived, he used me as currency and exchanged me with a few workers on the construction site for 2 bags of bread, just to survive a few more days for himself. Those workers tortured me in every way, and finally regarded me as the food for them to survive 2 more days. The tearing pain in my body and the humiliation I endured mentally were still vivid in my mind. Thinking of this, my nails left deep marks in my palm. In this life, not only do I want to survive, but I also want that old bastard to pay for his crimes, too. After leaving the company, I didn't go to the land in the west of the city. Instead, I turned and went to the supermarket. I pushed a cart and rushed towards the area of near-expiry discounted goods. I threw things like beef short ribs, pork spare ribs, salmon, and red wine into the cart one after another. The staff member kindly reminded me, "Miss, these are all near-expiry foods. You're buying so many." I smiled indifferently and responded to her kindness, "It's okay. I have a lot of dogs at home. I'm buying these for them, and I heard that red wine works well for watering the flowers. I'm going to give it a try." Under the envious gaze of the staff, I filled the shopping cart with near-expiry foods. These near-expiry foods cost me more than 300 yuan in total. I felt a bit distressed, but I knew I would earn it back soon. Moreover, there was an activity in the supermarket today, and they gave me a power bank and a hand warmer. I left the supermarket with the purchased foods and headed straight for the print shop. When I came out, the amount on the supermarket receipt had changed from 300 yuan to 800 yuan. Well, not bad. With the receipt and bags of things, I took a taxi and went to my boss's house to show my concern. The moment his wife opened the door, I showed a harmless smile. "Sister-in-law, boss said it's raining, and it's not convenient for you to go out, but he's been extremely busy with a project these 2 days, so he asked me to buy some of your favorite things and bring them to you. He said that only expensive things are worthy of your temperament and beauty. Boss is really good to you." I'm so envious. The chubby woman in front of me, wearing pajamas, beamed at my words. "Oh, coming quickly, Stephen is really too much. How could he ask a young girl like you to carry so many things?" Those were all misunderstandings before. Don't think too much about it, Lydia. Yes, this fat woman had caused me a lot of trouble before. She always suspected that I was flirting with her husband and even made a scene in the company. Today, seeing me bringing things, she became much more amiable. I put the things on the dining table. While she was washing her face, I arranged the ingredients on the table and took a photo. Then I quickly stuffed a rechargeable camera among the fake flowers in the living room and plugged in a mini power bank with a capacity of 20,000 mAh. After I was done, the fat woman finished washing her face. I put on a fawning smile. "Sister-in-law, this is the shopping receipt. It's not appropriate to put it on the company's account. It will have a bad impact on boss." Look, she understood immediately. After adding my WeChat, she transferred the money to me right away. After receiving the money, I left his house immediately and then went to the property management center of their community. I joined the property management group on the pretext of wanting to buy a house. It was already past 4 in the afternoon when I came out of their community. The rain was getting heavier, time was running out, and I had to prepare quickly. 3. I took a taxi and rushed to a community newly delivered by our company in the north of the city 2 months ago. I saw that there was already water accumulation on the roads where the drainage system was not well done. Looking out of the taxi window, the clouds in the sky were so thick that there seemed to be no bottom. I knew that starting from tomorrow night, this rain would turn into a torrential downpour. Although the community was far from the city center and all the buildings were high-rise, the surrounding environment was quite good, with a wide view. I spent an hour at the property management office. Finally, I chose a building with the fewest occupants and rented room 2702 on the second to top floor. The house was finely decorated, and all the furniture and appliances were complete. I paid the rent for half a month and rushed home to pack my things. On the way home, I also sent a message to Stephen to report my work progress. "Boss, I've got some ideas after looking at the land in the west of the city. I'm going home to draw the plan now and will send it to your email by tomorrow afternoon. Also, the 520 festival is coming soon. I bought some food in your name and send it to your home. I believe you will have a pleasant night today." I turned off my phone immediately after sending the message. As soon as I got home, I started packing my clothes and then moved to the new rental house at night. When I woke up, I saw lightning flashing outside the window and thunder roaring wildly. The rain had indeed been pouring all night. I opened my phone to check the weather forecast. But then boss's call came. His tone was so angry that he seemed to want to eat me. You bitch, who allowed you to make your own decision and buy such expensive things? I continued to pretend to be timid. Boss, for an excellent and successful person like you and a beautiful woman like sister-in-law, the things you eat must be reliable and of high quality. I'm thinking about your happy life. I saw in sister-in-law's moments last night that she expressed her deep love for you, sure enough. After hearing my words, he stopped being angry and even allowed me to work from home today. All I needed to do was send the design drawing before getting off work. This boss. For today, I had to prepare supplies quickly. When I went out, I gave up the umbrella and put on a raincoat, heading straight for the agricultural wholesale market. In the market, I and my raincoat formed a sharp contrast with the people who were frolicking in the rain. Several vegetable farmers who were delivering vegetables were moving bags of vegetables from the car to the store with smiles on their faces. They didn't care at all that they were soaked to the skin like drowned rats. Great, if it didn't rain, the vegetables in my field would have died of drought. Several children next to them were jumping in the water wearing rain boots, and even some adults joined them. Finally, it's raining. We don't have the sun to deal with anymore. So refreshing. I rushed into the largest non-staple food wholesale store, 20 boxes of instant noodles for each of these 5 flavors, 20 boxes of sausages, 10 boxes of compressed biscuits, self-heating rice, and self-heating hot pot. I listed a lot of instant foods in one breath. The boss asked me in surprise, "Little girl, why are you buying so much?" I smiled and said, Uncle, I'm going to open a small grocery store in the community. Please help me sort out the goods. I still need to buy some other things over there. I'll call a car to take them all away later." At this moment, the rain outside was getting heavier, and the water accumulation had already reached above my instep. I saw a person swearing as he picked up an umbrella from the ground and almost tripped. Damn it, it's raining, and the wind is so strong that the umbrella can't hold up. I also bought 20 pounds of beef and 20 pounds of chicken, but I bought 50 pounds of cured meat, and only some green vegetables. After all, in this torrential rain, it was hard to ensure that there would be no power outage. Once the power was cut off, it would be difficult to store the meat and vegetables. I also bought sanitary napkins, tissues, and other daily necessities in a large supermarket nearby. Most importantly, I bought a lot of dried vegetable packs. I bought a large number of power banks, electric blankets, rechargeable lighting lamps, and ceiling strips. I also bought a few life jackets just in case. In the pharmacy nearby, I used up my medical insurance card to buy all kinds of commonly used medicines for colds, fevers, inflammations, and bruises. It was already dark after I bought all the things. Fortunately, the occupancy rate of this community was not high. And I didn't meet many people when all the things were delivered. I told the delivery man that it was troublesome to go out in this weather and that he should stockpile more food at home. It took me about an hour to move all the supplies into the house by myself. Then I contacted 5 drinking water companies and asked each of them to deliver 30 buckets of water at different times. I looked out of the window. The rain was getting heavier, and the water accumulation on the road was probably already up to my ankle. 5. At night, I put my phone in flight mode, connected to the Wi-Fi, and opened the monitoring app. As soon as I opened it, I saw that the enraged boss was calling me over and over again. He must be waiting for my design drawing. I happily closed the app, deciding to let his anger, metaphorically, referring to his anger as something that could block his breasts. A bit of a humorous way to say I wanted him to be angry for a while, last a bit longer. I took out the electric cooker and happily ate hot pot while browsing the news. I found that the heavy rain in various places was trending on the top search. Some southern cities' roads were almost turned into rivers. Netizens were cursing. Damn it, what kind of drainage system is this? The water on the road is deep enough to sail a boat. Damn it, my car has been flooded. Now I finally understand why there's a vehicle and vessel tax when buying a car. I suggest that people who can't swim stockpile more supplies at home and just stay there. Thank you to the kind-hearted person upstairs for the reminder. I'm going to place an order and send some food to my parents' place. The last comment struck my heart like a bolt of lightning, and I felt a bit sad, because I was an orphan, without parents. I grew up in an orphanage, and the dean who treated me the best passed away 2 years ago. However, looking at it now, having no ties made me feel a bit more relaxed in this apocalypse. I hardly slept that night, because the window was blown open 4 times by the wind. Finally, I had to seal the window completely with sealing strips and tape. Moreover, the rain was getting heavier. The sound of the raindrops hitting the glass was like someone constantly throwing small stones at the window. When I woke up the next day, I opened my phone and continued to browse the real-time news. The headline was an official message. The National Meteorological Observatory announced that the rainfall this time is large. We appeal to the citizens to stay at home as much as possible to avoid accidents. At the same time, the local governments will do their best to start the rescue work. The comment section under this news exploded. What do you mean? What does start the rescue mean? Explain it clearly. Some residents on the first floor of the community here were flooded by the rain last night. Fortunately, my home is on the 5th floor, and I'm safe for now. I didn't have the heart to read the following comments. The sky outside seemed to be torn open. The rain was pouring down as if from the Tianhe River. It was nothing like the beautiful scenes described in the Chinese textbooks when I was a child. The continuous thunderstorms and lightning were like a dragon that wanted to devour the world, roaring terrifyingly. There was no sunlight in the sky, and it was terrifyingly dark. I looked downstairs, and some thin trees had been knocked down by the fierce wind and rain. At this time, I turned off the flight mode on my phone and dialed Steven's number. Boss, I was trapped on the construction site in the west of the city yesterday, and my phone ran out of power. I just turned it on because a kind worker lent me a power bank. Come and pick me up quickly, otherwise, I won't be able to draw the plan. On the other end of the phone, Steven started to swear violently. Pick you up, you can just stay there and wait for death in this weather. After saying that, he hung up on me, instead of getting angry. I smiled and sent him a screenshot of the evidence of his tax evasion that I secretly saved from his computer via WeChat. Soon, his message came back. Wait for me there, I'll find a way to pick you up. The apocalypse was really coming. I hope our boss is good at swimming. 6. I nestled on the sofa and watched dramas all morning. After watching a movie, I walked to the window and looked outside. The rain showed no signs of stopping and was even getting heavier. Just then, the phone rang. I looked at the caller ID and picked up the phone. Damn it, I'm here. Where are you? Come down quickly. I was surprised that his broken car could actually drive to that construction site. I pretended to be terrified and said, boss, I forgot to tell you. I saw the news appealing to the citizens to go home quickly. I happened to catch a ride. I'm already home now. You should go home quickly too. Comrade Steven on the other end of the phone couldn't hold back anymore. You bitch. How dare you play tricks on me? I'm firing you right now. I no longer suppressed my emotions. Whatever. But I suggest you think about how to get home. After all, the rain is getting heavier, you idiot. After saying that, I quickly hung up the phone and turned it off. It felt so good. For lunch, I cooked a small handful of noodles and made a plate of stir-fried beef with chili peppers. I ate with garlic and felt really satisfied. After taking a short rest, I did half an hour of exercise and then took a nap. When I woke up, it was already dark. I heated up a self-heating rice and took out my phone to open the monitoring app of Steven's house. I watched the footage while eating. Sometimes it was just so coincidental. When I opened the app, I saw that Steven had just entered his house. I was really amused by the scene in the video. Comrade Steven was like a drowned rat. His clothes and pants were gone. There was only a big red underpant left. His wife came up and slapped him. You bastard. You said you didn't go to see that vixen. Why were you so excited that you forgot to put on your clothes? I watched the guy who used to be arrogant in front of us. Now he was as timid as a mouse seeing a cat. No, I really went to the company to get the official seal, but the rain was so heavy that the car broke down halfway. I swam back. My clothes and pants were washed away by the water. Woohoo, it's like eating bugles and coming to Mickey Mouse's house. It's really wonderful. After turning off the video with a good mood, I opened the property management group of our community. The owner of room 201, it's really great to stay at home and play games without going to work. The owner of room 501, yeah. I finally have time to stay at home with my wife and children. Thank this heavy rain. I really laughed. They were thinking in this situation, it's like there's so much water in their heads that it can cause artificial rainfall. After exiting WeChat, I made a cup of protein powder and took vitamins. I'm going to enhance my immunity from now on, at 10 p.m. Just as I was about to go to sleep, there was a loud bang coming from the living room. I jumped up like a carp. I turned on the light and went to the living room. I found that the window had been blown open by the strong wind and the glass was shattered all over the place. The rain was blowing into the room. What should I do? The ceiling strips and tape no longer worked. If this went on, there would be more and more water in the room. In my anxiety, I suddenly remembered that the property management said that the opposite room was being renovated. I gathered my courage, took a wooden stick and a screwdriver, and decided to go to the opposite room to see if there were any materials I could use. I listened at the door for a while. After making sure there was no movement inside, I inserted the screwdriver into the lock core. After 15 minutes, I finally managed to pry open the door. I thanked the mean Steven, last time. In order to find a good and cheap anti-theft door lock, he bought a lot of locks for me to study. Otherwise, I really couldn't have opened this lock today. After entering, I found cut wooden floors and a nail gun on the ground. It was really a godsend. I carried a few wooden floors and quickly went back to my room with the nail gun. First, I cut the wooden floors to the size of the window. Then I used the nail gun to nail the wooden boards around the window. For safety, I used 2 layers of boards. Then I started to clean up the water. It was already past 1 o'clock in the morning when I finished, but the property management group of the community was still very lively at this moment. The owner of room 201, where are the property management people? Hurry up and find someone to fix my window. The damned gust of wind blew my window open and the glass shattered. I was almost scared to death while playing games just now. But there was no response from the property management. Instead, the owner of room 501 replied, "Why don't you come to my house and get some plastic sheeting to cover it up?" Actually, I was quite touched by their mutual help. I wanted to ask him if he needed wooden boards and a nail gun for reinforcement. After thinking about it, I gave up. After all, human nature is unpredictable, and I don't want to expose myself. But at this time, the owner of room 201 suddenly at me, "Hey, I remember that there's no one in room 2702. Are you a new resident? Damn it." The property management asked me to change my nickname when I joined the group, and I forgot to change it back. The best thing to do now is to play dead and not reply. I turned off my phone and continued to sleep, but when I woke up the next day and saw the messages in the group, I felt really bad, because someone died. 8. The one who died was the owner of room 201 who hit me last night. The property management found him when they sent someone to repair his window this morning. According to the property management's speculation, he covered his window with plastic sheeting last night and went to sleep without dealing with the water accumulation. In the second half of the night, the window was blown open again, and the water accumulation rose and spread to the socket in the bedroom, and he was holding a charging phone in his hand, so he was probably electrocuted. The property management also sent a photo of him. His face in the photo was very distorted, and his whole body was burned like black charcoal. You could see how painful he was when he died. The people in the group sent emojis of daisies and candles to express their condolences. The property management also reminded everyone again to have a safety awareness. Don't play with your phone while it's charging when you're sleeping. I felt really bad all day because of the death of the owner of room 201. I thought that if I wasn't so selfish and shared the wooden boards and tools with him, would he not have died? But I just wanted to protect myself. After all, the ugliness of human nature was fully demonstrated in the apocalypse. Now that God has given me a chance to live again, I won't and don't dare to take the risk. After figuring it out, I suddenly felt hungry. I made a pot of braised beef brisket with potatoes. While eating, I took out my phone and checked the monitoring of Boss's house. It was really an eyesore. In the video, the two of them were eating beef short ribs and drinking red wine. They started doing that kind of thing in the living room before they even finished the meal. It was really speechless. Before exiting the app, I heard Stephen's sleazy voice, "Your Majesty, please punish your slaves severely." Damn it, I almost choked on a piece of potato. Yuck, that old bastard was really like a toad chasing a frog, playing so wildly. I lost my appetite because of the disgust. After putting the dishes in the refrigerator, I continued to work out. I did 101 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, and 100 high knees. After consuming a lot of energy, I fell asleep quickly, but I was awakened by a nightmare in the middle of the night. 9. In the dream, there were scenes of me being humiliated by those migrant workers that Steven sold me to in my previous life. After waking up with a start, I found that my whole body was soaked in sweat, although I knew it was something from my previous life. My body couldn't help trembling. I sat on the bed and hugged myself tightly. Tears were streaming down my face just like the rain outside, but after a few minutes, I figured it out. Since I was reborn, I must make that despicable Steven pay for what he did in my previous life. At this time, the messages in the property management group of Steven's community gave me an excellent opportunity. Does anyone have food to sell? I haven't eaten for a day. I'll pay 100 yuan for 2 buckets of instant noodles. I'll pay 1,000 yuan. Instant noodles had become a hot item up for bidding. Someone was even willing to pay 10,000 yuan for them, but no one was stupid. Instant noodles were life-saving at this time. Thinking of this, I changed my group nickname to a 5-01-601. Then I sent the photos of the beef short ribs and other supplies that I took at that time in the group. Room 601, Unit 1, Building F5. If anyone needs them, you can come to my house to get them. As soon as this message was sent, the group exploded. I quickly opened the monitoring app to check the situation at his house. The two of them should be sleeping now, and the living room was pitch black. But less than half an hour later, Steven came out of the bedroom cursing and opened the door. "Are you crazy? Why are you knocking on the door in the middle of the night?" In the video, as soon as Steven opened the door, 3 men rushed into the house. Steven woke up instantly. "Damn it, what are you doing? This is breaking into a private house. It's illegal." A tattooed man stared fiercely at Steven. "No, don't you admit it? You said that there was food at home and we could come to get it. We won't take it for free. We'll pay you double the price. Hurry up and bring out the food." Steven was stunned. I was delighted. 10. Presumably, the quarrel in the living room alerted Steven's wife, and she came out of the bedroom cursing. "Steven, you bastard, what are you doing in the middle of the night?" But the 3 men ignored Steven and his wife. They even grabbed the remaining beef short ribs on the table and stuffed them into their mouths. After a dispute, Steven reluctantly gave each of them a small box of beef short ribs. On the one hand, he just wanted to solve the trouble quickly. On the other hand, He was afraid of provoking the three men. After all, the other side were three burly middle-aged men, unlike him, who only dared to act arrogantly in the company but was actually a coward. The three men left contentedly with the food, but through the video, I noticed that the tattooed man looked back several times before going out. As soon as the three of them left, Stephen took out his phone and rummaged through it for a few minutes. Then my phone rang. "Lydia, you bitch. How dare you plot against me again? Just wait until the rain stops. I'll show you what I can do to you." I wasn't angry at all. Instead, I felt really satisfied. "You old bastard, you're like a dung beetle yawning. What a big tone. Let's see if you can survive until the end of this heavy rain, and stop thinking of acting like my father. My father's grave is probably overgrown with grass. Do you want to join him?" After scolding him, I hung up the phone and turned it off. I felt really relieved. I opened a pack of potato chips and watched Stephen in the video throwing a cup in a fit of rage while eating. Well, these potato chips are really crispy today. Just as I was watching intently, the power went out, and the whole room was plunged into darkness. I took out the rechargeable lighting lamp I had prepared before. After turning it on, there was light again. At this moment, our property management group was also very lively. The owner of room 501. "Is it a power outage or did I run out of electricity at home?" The owner of room 702. "There's a power outage. What should I do with the meat in my refrigerator that I didn't want to eat before?" The owner of room 501. "Why don't you share some with me? It's better to eat it now than let it go bad." The scolding continued for half an hour, but the property management didn't respond. I was a bit worried. It was only the third day, and the power was out. I'm afraid the days to come will be even more difficult. 11. I took the lighting lamp and went back to the bedroom. This little bit of light gave me some comfort in this worrying dark night. But the property management group, which was originally quiet, became lively again in less than half an hour. I didn't expect that this commotion was caused by me, the owner of room 501. Damn it. When I went to get a power bank from the car in the rain, I saw that there was a light in room 2702. The owner of room 702. "Dude, are you seeing things because of the rain? There's no one in room 2702. The owner of room 501. "Don't you believe me? Wait, I'll go out and take a photo for you." When I saw this, I immediately turned off the light, drew the bedroom curtains, and stared at the group messages nervously. The owner of room 702. 10 minutes have passed. Why haven't you sent the photo? Don't tell me you were scared to death by a female ghost. The owner of room 501. It's really strange. I really saw it just now, but when I went out again, there was nothing. The owner of room 702. I told you that you were seeing things. There are only a few families living in this building, and room 2702 has always been empty. I let out a long sigh of relief. I was really careless. From now on, I won't open the bedroom curtains again. Just as I was about to get up and go to sleep, the group messages rang again. I quickly swiped open my phone. The owner of room 501. No. I'm going up to take a look now. Damn it, why does this guy have such a strong spirit of exploration? And isn't he tired? He has to climb the stairs because of the power outage. I hid in the living room and didn't dare to move, but after 10 minutes, I heard footsteps at the door. The knocking on the door made me so nervous that I felt like my breath was about to stop. I'm the owner of room 501. Is there anyone inside? I didn't dare to respond, but then my phone received a news push. I quickly turned it to silent mode, but it seemed that he heard it. Then my phone screen lit up. It was a group message. The owner of room 501. I'm already at room 2702. No one answered the door, but I seemed to hear the sound of a phone inside. The owner of room 702. Bro, you're being too suspicious. Just go to sleep. I was helpless. These two people were really more boring than each other. The footsteps at the door sounded again. I let out a long sigh of relief. This gossipy guy finally left. I tiptoed to the door and planned to check if he really left, but when I looked through the peephole, I let out a scream in fright. 12. The owner of room 501 outside the peephole didn't leave. Instead, he was leaning against the door, listening to the movement inside. He was very strong and had a scar on his face. His whole face was magnified by the peephole and looked a bit distorted. My scream made him a bit confused, but he took a step back. I quickly covered my mouth to avoid making any more noise. I took off my slippers and walked barefoot back to the bedroom. I picked up a stick for self-defense and waited in the living room. At this time, the screen of my phone lit up again. The owner of room 501. At the owner of room 702. Bro, are you still awake? I really heard the movement just now. Could there really be a ghost? The owner of room 702. Bro, don't scare me. I'm still awake. How about I go downstairs and check if there's a light? Their conversation reminded me of a plan. I quickly changed into a white dress, let my hair down, opened the bedroom curtains, stood by the window, and turned on the flashlight of my phone and waved it in front of my face. Then I knocked on the windowsill or the ground with a stick from time to time, making chaotic noises. Sure enough, a group message came. The owner of room 702, damn it, there's really a ghost, and it's a female ghost. He sent a blurry photo that he took downstairs. The owner of room 501, I've already run away. I heard the banging sound in the room just now. Since the owner of room 201 died, these two people were still actively chatting in the group. After making sure it was safe, I closed the curtains, turned on the lighting lamp, and looked at the photo sent by the owner of room 702. Well, I have to say it's really a bit scary, but I also found it funny. I didn't expect that the strong guy in room 501 was so timid. In this way, I completely got rid of my worries, but I didn't expect that the next day I would become the internet famous ghost in the whole community. The owner of room 501 is definitely an extrovert. He sent the story of last night to the group chats of every building. This move actually suits my purpose, if I wasn't afraid of scaring him. I really would have thanked him. The heavy rain outside continued. By the 7th day, everyone was truly running out of food. Complaints kept pouring in from both Steven's community group and ours. On the 8th day, there was finally good news. The rain seemed to ease up a bit. Moreover, after emergency repairs, not only did the power come back on, but the government's relief supplies also arrived. Everyone's mood became less irritable. I returned to my regular routine of eating, binge-watching dramas, and exercising every day until the 15th day when a huge thunderclap exploded. I saw many high-voltage power lines struck by lightning, billowing black smoke. The rain outside became even heavier, more violent than any previous day. Fortunately, it was still the rainy season. Otherwise, a catastrophic fire would have been inevitable. Then the power went out again, but that wasn't the real bad news. The real problem was that overnight, the water accumulation had flooded the first floor. The intense thunderstorms also made it impossible for helicopters to carry out rescues, and the water on the roads was so deep that even armored vehicles couldn't move. On the 18th day, everyone ran out of food again. The owner of room 702, relief supplies haven't been delivered for 5 days. I only had a small bowl of porridge today. I'm so hungry. The owner of room 501, I still have some potatoes my mother-in-law sent before the rain started. Why don't you come and get some? The owner of room 501 was as warm and friendly as ever, and the group chat fell silent again. But I didn't expect that after a period of silence, the owner of room 501 mentioned me again today, at room 2702. Are you still alive? We said your house seemed haunted last time. Why haven't you responded? This time, I decided not to pretend to be absent anymore. Sorry, I rarely check my phone. I'm not in town at the moment. I'll deal with it when I get back after the rain stops. The owner of room 501, I know a master who's really amazing. I'll recommend him to you. This guy is such a social butterfly. After thanking him, I went silent again. Then I opened the property management group chat of Steven's community. Wow, their group chat is much livelier than ours. 14. As soon as I entered, I saw Steven throwing a tantrum. Are you people done? Why are there so many useless messages? Can't you let people rest? If you can't stand it, just die. With just one sentence, the emotions of the previous residents who had been desperately asking for supplies reached the boiling point of anger. Damn it. If you think it's too noisy, you can mute the notifications or get out of the group. Agreed. What does our asking for supplies have to do with you? Steven became even more provocative. It's my phone, and I make the rules. I can keep this sound on if I want. Who told you not to stock up on supplies before? You deserve to starve to death. I have to admire Steven. He's so bold even in this critical situation. Thinking of the supplies at home, I felt an overwhelming sense of security. Even if I ate 3 normal meals a day, I could still last for several months. Maybe because I took a long nap in the afternoon, I couldn't fall asleep at night and started browsing my phone. I was grateful for my more than 100 power banks with a capacity of 20,000 mAh, which gave me the confidence to use my phone without worry. Accidentally, I clicked on the monitoring of Steven's house again. Just as I was about to close it, I noticed something unusual in the footage. 15. Since there was no electricity, Steven's house was dimly lit, with only a small rechargeable night light emitting a faint yellow glow. I saw Steven lying on the ground in a strange position. When I zoomed in on the screen, I covered my mouth in shock. He was covered in blood, with a fruit knife stuck in his body, motionless. It looked like he was dead. At that moment, Steven's wife rushed out of the bedroom like a madwoman. Her silk nightgown was torn and tattered. Behind her was a man. I recognized him as the tattooed man who came to Steven's house to ask for food the first time. Blood was flowing from his forehead, but he didn't seem to care. Instead, he let out a strange laugh. You bitch, how dare you hit me? I'll show you what true ecstasy means. After saying that, he grabbed Steven's wife in a few swift movements, slapped her twice, and then pinned her to the ground. I couldn't bear to watch the rest of the scene. I turned off my phone, walked to the window, and looked at the dark night. Suddenly, I felt a chill. After about half an hour, my mood calmed down a bit. I opened my phone again to check what was going on at Steven's place. In the video, Steven's wife was also lying on the ground, covered in blood. And the house was in a complete mess. I guessed that after committing his crimes, the man had taken all the useful supplies. Originally, I planned to get more people to go to his house to supplies and let him starve to death, but I didn't expect his end to be more tragic than I had imagined. But so what, after all? In my previous life, his beastly actions made this kind of ending not at all surprising. Evildoers will always be punished by other evildoers. After realizing this, I let out a long sigh and went back to the bedroom to sleep. 16. After that day, I uninstalled the monitoring app for Steven's house, and the dull days passed one by one. I left the property management group of Steven's community, completely cutting off all ties with Steven. On the other hand, the families in room 501 and room 702 in our building were still surviving on potatoes from their conversations. I learned that they were now eating one potato a day and would share different ways to cook potatoes in the group. It wasn't until the 45th day that I was amused by their conversation in the group. The owner of room 702, brother, I haven't been able to use the toilet for half a month. I really can't stand eating potatoes anymore. The owner of room 501, to be honest with you, brother, there aren't many potatoes left. I can give you at most 5 more. If there's still no rescue, the owner of room 702, brother, if I don't starve to death, after this damned rain stops, I'll you as my real brother, the owner of room 501. There's no use talking about these things. My mother always says a near neighbor is better than a distant relative. We should help each other when we can. Seeing this, my eyes welled up with tears. In my previous life, during the apocalypse, I only experienced the ugliness of human nature. In this life, although what happened with Steven was, these two people showed me warmth. I hope this rain disaster will end soon. 17. In the following days, I didn't have the heart to pay attention to their situation, because the rain was getting heavier and heavier. Looking out of the window, the water accumulation was at least up to the 3rd floor. Then the group messages made me even more worried. The owner of room 501, brother in room 702. Can I bring my wife and child to your place? My house is starting to flood. The owner of room 702, sure, I'll come down and pick you up right away. It turned out that the water had already reached the 5th floor, but there was no sign of the rain stopping. I stayed up all night that night, although I lived on the 27th floor and the water wouldn't reach me anytime soon. How long could this go on? 18. The next morning, after barely having 2 bites of instant porridge, I suddenly felt extremely irritable while standing by the living room window. I frantically tore off a piece of the wooden board sealing the window, letting the rain pour on me. After a few minutes, I calmed down. After resealing the window, drying myself, and changing into dry clothes, I drank a cup of hot water to get rid of the chill and took out my phone to play some music to help me sleep. Unexpectedly, the group chat, which had been quiet for a few days, became active again. The owner of room 702, I don't know if there's anyone still alive. The family of the brother in room 501, and I might not make it. I hope those who are still alive can hold on a little longer. I still have some common medicines at home. If anyone needs them, come and get them. I won't lock the door. Was this a farewell message? My heart tightened. At that moment, I made an important decision and quickly typed a message on my phone. You can come to my place. My supplies should last for a while. The owner of room 702, holy shit, am I dead? How can I see a ghost sending a WeChat message? The sadness I felt was instantly dispelled by his words. I quickly sent another message. I'm human. If you don't believe me, come and see for yourselves. After sending the message, there was no reply. I guess they probably didn't believe me. In the afternoon, just after I finished eating a pack of instant noodles, someone knocked on the door. 19, subconsciously, I picked up the self-defense stick and went to the door to take a look. Outside the door, the man from room 501 was holding a little girl about 5 or 6 years old in his arms. To his left stood a listless woman, and to his right stood a short young man with a perm. He was shivering, whether from the cold or fear. I leaned the stick against the wall and opened the door. The young man from room 702 suddenly let out a scream that made my ears ring. Damn, it's really a ghost. Although it doesn't look exactly like the photo I took that night, the figure, I smiled and let down my tied-up hair. Hello, I'm the internet-famous female ghost from room 2702. The man from room 501 smiled awkwardly. Sister, don't take it to heart. Thomas is a bit silly. We came here on the off chance. Because we had no other choice, I quickly invited them in, but accidentally knocked over the stick, which made a loud clank sound. The atmosphere became extremely awkward. Well, since I live alone as a girl, I'm used to having this for protection. Don't think too much of it. 20. I cooked them some instant noodles and added extra dried vegetables and cured meat. I'd never seen anyone eat so quickly, even the little girl. The bowls they finished were so clean that they didn't even need washing. I couldn't help but laugh. I have other food too. Do you want some more? They quickly shook their heads. No. We should go back downstairs now. I stopped them. The house I rented was large, a 4-bedroom apartment. I really didn't want to endure this alone anymore, otherwise, I was afraid I'd really go crazy like a female ghost. 21. A month later, my supplies were gradually running low. No one said anything, but we all consciously reduced our food intake, changing from 2 meals a day to 1. That night, I took out a few self-heating hot pots. Let's have a good meal today. Who knows how long this hellish situation will last? We had a pleasant meal. But when we finished, everyone looked worried. I walked to the window, pulled off another piece of the wooden board, and stared blankly into the night. Suddenly, I noticed something different. The rain seemed to be getting lighter. Brother, sister, come and take a look. Is the rain getting lighter? Hearing my call, they rushed to the window. Their whole bodies were shaking with excitement, just as I finished speaking. His irritability disappeared instantly. Then, what answered us was a text message on our phones. According to the prediction of the National Meteorological Observatory, after the long and unremitting efforts of experts, with artificial intervention, this heavy rain will completely stop tomorrow. Please reply with your specific location if you need rescue. We will arrange rescue at the earliest opportunity. The 4 of us looked at each other and quickly replied to the text message. The man and Thomas hugged each other, while I hugged the woman, and we all shed tears of joy. 22. The day after receiving the text message, although the water accumulation was still very deep, reaching about the 4th floor, the rain had really stopped. We finally saw the long-awaited sunshine and heard the roar of helicopters. We made it through. We survived this torrential rain apocalypse that almost destroyed humanity. We survived the famine. We survived the loneliness and fear. From now on, there will be freedom and sunshine.